In today's video, we will go through the events of 2012's documentary crime Sinister. Spoilers ahead, you have been warned. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, comment on what your favorite part was, and subscribe to our channel for more. Ellison Oswalt is a famous true crime author. He has just moved into a new home with his wife Tracy, son Trevor, and daughter Ashley. As the couple is unboxing their belongings, the town sheriff arrives at the front of the house. Ellison's last two true crime books had flopped. The book's influence has also caused one of the criminals to be set free. The sheriff knows this, so he warns Ellison to go back to his old house and leave the town alone. Ellison politely asks the sheriff to leave and comes back inside. On his way in, Tracy asks him if they have moved into a house near a crime scene again. Ellison lies and says no. But in reality, Ellison chose this specific house because it is associated with an unsolved crime. A few years ago, a family of 5, the Stevenson family, lived in the house. Everyone from the family except for the youngest daughter, Stephanie, was murdered. They were hung from a tree outside. Stephanie, however, went missing after the incident and was never found. Ellison hopes to find out more about the house and the family to write about them in his next book. After his talk with the sheriff, Ellison goes to the backyard and sees the same tree the family was hung on. Later, he goes to the house's attic to unload the boxes from the move. The loft is empty except for a single box on its floor. Curious, Ellison puts the other boxes aside and opens the singular box. Inside is a projector and several reels. The reels seem to be of family events marked with different names. Ellison brings the box downstairs. At dinner that night, Trevor complains about being bullied by the kids at his school because of Ellison's books. Tracy is worried about the impact of Ellison's stories on the kids. She warns Ellison never to leave the doors to his office open. Ellison and Tracy have a chat when Tracy tells him that she feels like his hit book, Kentucky Blood, was his 15 minutes of fame and that he should consider some other job now. Ellison asks Tracy for some time to finish this last book. Tracy agrees on the condition that if the book flops, she would take the kids and go live at her sister's. After that, Ellison goes to his home office to work. First, he collects many notes and pictures and makes a mood board with all the clues and information. Then he takes a look at a picture of the attic the police had taken after the incident. The box is missing from the picture. He figures that after the investigation was over, someone had put the box there. Then he sets up the reel and the projector and plays the video. The first reel is titled Family Hanging Out 11. It is of the Stevenson family having fun and playing in the house's backyard. All 5 of them look delighted, but the scene abruptly changes to the 4 of them hanging from the tree. Ellison is beyond surprised. The murderer had shot this video of them before killing them. As expected, Stephanie is missing from the last clip. Ellison rewatches the footage and notices that the person who filmed the video is never shown. He writes this on his notepad. Then he watches the reel named Barbecue 79. In the footage is another family called the Martinez family by a lake. They have a barbecue picnic. Then the scene abruptly changes to nighttime. The family is tied and gagged inside a car and with cans of gasoline inside. A symbol is painted on the hood of the car. Ellison watches in terror as someone lights the car on fire with the whole family inside it. When he puts on the next reel, he suddenly hears a noise coming from outside. He goes out again, calling for Ashley to see if it's her. But when he checks her room, she is sleeping peacefully. Then he hears the noise coming from inside a moving box. Suddenly, Trevor emerges from the box shouting in fear. Ellison picks him up and takes him outside to calm him down. They label it as one of Trevor's night terrors. The following morning is a happy one for the family. They eat breakfast together, after which the kids and Tracy leave. Ellison gets back to his work. He continues playing the reel he left last night. This one is named Pool Party 66. In the film, a family enjoys a lovely day at the pool while someone from a corner films them. The scene again changes to show that it is now nighttime. The family is tied to pool benches and dragged into the water. They are drowned and killed, but Ellison also notices a strange figure inside the pool, watching the family die. He zooms onto the person. It doesn't look like a human. As he inspects the picture closely, the projector starts to burn. He quickly puts the fire out. He goes to his computer and learns how to edit the film. Now he can watch the videos even on his computer. Tracy and the kids are back home. Tracy is furious because Trevor had drawn a picture of 4 people hanging from a tree on his classroom's whiteboard. Tracy blames Ellison for this and they get into an argument. Later at night, Ellison is in his office analyzing another one of the reels. In this one, an empty kitchen is shown in the middle of the night. As the camera moves, the symbol from the earlier video is shown. Then, in one of the rooms, a couple lies bound on a bed. Someone slits their throat open, and in another room does the same to a kid. Ellison finds an address in the video and searches the murder on the internet. There he finds out that, like the Stevenson family's case, the youngest member of the family had disappeared after the murder. As he researches the murder, the lights suddenly go off. He then hears the floor creaking outside. He hears that the noise is coming from the attic, so he climbs up there. With his phone's flashlight, he looks around. Then he finds a drawing of little kids that depicts the murders with a strange figure called Mr. Boogie standing next to the victims. He moves around and the attic's floor breaks beneath him, sending him down to the floor. The paramedics and the police arrive. Ellison has injured his leg. He tells the deputy police that he heard someone moving in the house and might be an intruder. They inspect the attic and conclude that it might be some kind of animal-like squirrel. The paramedic is a fan of Ellison's book. He asks Ellison if he can help him write his next book in any way. Taking the opportunity, Ellison asks him for the reports of the murders. The deputy then leaves and Ellison gets back to his work. He has taken pictures of the drawings in the attic and is inspecting them on his computer. He watches the videos of the murders on repeat and finds the same figure standing in the background of every video. Later, he gets a call from the deputy police, who gives him the name and addresses of one of the families in the video. Ellison matches it to the rest and finds out that every death is related to each other. Firstly, the murders take place at different times and in different cities across the country. Then he finds that the Stevenson family lived in the house where the Miller family were murdered before moving to Pennsylvania. Just then, he finds a video of himself that was accidentally taken when he fell from the attic. In the video, he sees several children's hands pushing him down. Ellison is beyond surprised. That night, a noise wakes Ellison up. He goes to his office and sees his laptop display the picture of the Stevenson family hanging in their backyard. He turns it off and goes to the window, where he sees the figure standing at the same place like in the picture. He goes out to check and finds Trevor behind the bushes, hiding because of his night terrors. He brings him inside and goes out again to get his flashlight. There he encounters a dog, and we see the lost kids of the murdered family behind him. The following day, the deputy officer brings him the reports of the murders. He looks at the symbol on Ellison's mood board and suggests he call a professor named Jonas, who is an expert in occult symbols. Ellison gets on a conference call with Jonas, who tells him about the symbol. According to him, such symbols refer to an ancient deity named Bugul, who would kill entire families and take one of their children to consume their souls slowly. Jonas suspects the murders are part of a cult. Hearing this, Ellison is distraught. He keeps the projector and the reels inside the box and locks his office. At night, he wakes up to his office door wide open and the reel playing inside. He stops the reel and looks around the house for any intruder. As he moves, we see the spirits of the children that had disappeared around the house, but Ellison doesn't notice them. One of the girl's spirits sits in front of Ashley as she looks at her horrified. That night, Ellison falls asleep on the couch. In the morning, Ashley draws a picture on the wall and is scolded by her mother. Ellison is surprised to see that the picture she has drawn is of Stephanie. That way, Tracy gets to know that a family had died in the house she is living in. She is furious at Ellison for not telling her, and they get into a huge fight. She wants all of them to leave the house immediately. That night, Ellison wakes up to a loud noise coming from his office, but when he goes to check in, he finds nothing. Then he sees the attic's ladder is down, so he climbs up to see if there is an intruder. However, when he is up, he is terrified to see the children's spirits watching a reel on the wall. Ellison is stunned as the children look at him. They watch a film about Bugul. Just then, Bugul appears in front of him. Ellison falls to the ground. The box of reels and the projector fall from the attic's door. Ellison has made his decision to run away from the house. He takes the reels, brings them out to the backyard, and burns them. Tracy comes outside and inquires about what he is doing. Ellison tells her that they should have never moved to this house. He makes everyone hurriedly pack their essentials and drive away from the house. The following morning, the family is in their new house. Ellison calls Professor Jonas, who informs him that the Bugul possesses pictures and lives on Earth through it. Ellison realizes that the film was probably possessed too. After the call, Ellison deletes all the pictures and videos of the murders from his laptop. The movers have brought their stuff in from the old house. Ellison goes to the house's attic and finds the box with the projector and reels on it. There he also finds an extra envelope of reels that says extended cut endings. He comes down to his office and starts setting up the projector. Just then, the deputy officer calls him. He has found crucial information about the murders. Every family that had been murdered had lived in each other's previous homes. Each new murder occurred shortly after the family moved from the crime scene into a new residence. So by moving from the last house to this one, Ellison and his family are basically the next to be murdered. Stunned, Ellison cuts the phone call and plays the newfound reels, and is horrified to find that the murders behind the camera were actually the kids that disappeared. Stephanie hangs from her father's dead body, and another child plays with the knife he used to kill his family. By the end of the video, Ellison feels hazy. He gets up and sees green stuff on the bottom of the cup he was drinking from. The same green stuff can be seen on every video of the murders. He then notices a note from Ashley that says, "Good night, Daddy," under the cup. Then he goes unconscious. When he wakes up, he, Tracy, and Trevor are tied to the ground. Ashley stands in front of him with an axe and a video camera. She films him as she hits him with the weapon. Cut to a few minutes later, Ashley shows us around the house. The walls are splattered with blood. Ashley has drawn several things on the wall with blood. Later, she adds her drawing to the other children's. She draws Ellison, Tracy, and Trevor's bodies decapitated, suggesting that she has beheaded them with the axe. The movie ends as Bogle picks up Ashley and takes her inside the rear.